Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Sunday, or as I like to call it, Spirit Day, or Self-Care Day, or the Day of Rest. Any number of things we can call it. Either way, it's a day not to work, not to do homework. Although I did do a little bit of homework today because I kind of had to. I took a few days off while I was visiting with the grandkids, and it's just how it goes. You know, is what it is. One more shuffle. And then we'll get some messages for today. I hope everyone's doing well. Getting ready for a new week. End of February. So, Pisces season is, getting ramped up, I guess, a little bit. And we are going to start to feel some energies. Huge energetic shift lately, actually. There's a shift that I've been feeling anyway lately. I don't know if you guys have been feeling it. And it's kind of like our gifts are on overdrive. For example, I often get messages in the form of songs. Those of you that know me know that. And I would wake up every morning with a song in my head. And that has not happened lately, but I have actually been getting like maybe a scene from a movie, or the other day it was Who's on First. I mean, like, seriously, like, it's just crazy. It's they're coming from all directions now, not just from one source. Okay. When we talk about our spiritual gifts and when you open yourself up to recognizing them, and this is the case, even if you're right or wrong, just by opening yourself up and accepting them as gifts, then, or as messages, or whatever word you want to insert there, your higher self knows that you're listening now, and it starts just really throwing stuff at you left and right and left and right and left and right. And that's when I get to this point where I'm like, I can get overwhelmed very easily. I can get energetically drained very easily. But I can also get energized by it at times too. And there's differences to those energetic shifts, if you will. And those things, for me, I often say, you know, they mean everything, but they mean nothing, if that makes any sort of sense. It's never about, I shouldn't say never, because never is not a word that ever works out well for me. You know, they say never, because the minute you say it, it'll happen, right? But oftentimes, I should say, the messages that we get have very little to do with the situation right then and there, at least for me. Now, this might not be the case for other people, but for me, you know, when I get a message or an intuitive hit or a download, whatever, like I said, whatever word you want to call it, it usually has something to do with unraveling my past or the bit of shadow work that I'm doing. But that makes sense for me because I am what I like to consider a shadow worker. I don't know if you guys have heard of light workers, shadow workers, whatever. They're the same thing at the end of the day. You know, one's unicorns and rainbows and one not so much. But much like light and dark, good and bad, yes or no, black and white, both are necessary. And it took me a long time to accept the fact that I was, in fact, a shadow worker, which is why most of my readings are about shadow work type energies. That's the energy that I'm tapped into. That's the energy that reveals itself to me. You want unicorns and rainbows, this probably isn't your channel or your reading or whatever, but I can take shadow work and transmute it to light, you know. So we'll end on a unicorns and rainbows potentially, but we have to kind of go through the muck to get there. So anyway, that was 4 minutes of conversation that I didn't expect to have, but it just kind of came out. So there's that. Anyway, hope you guys understand and are willing to receive the messages as they are delivered. And if not, then you know what? Your higher self will save them for you later. So let's get started with the reading. We're going to look for the current energies for today. It's been a weird weather day here in Albuquerque. We had hail and then dust storms, low visibility, and lost power for about an hour. And then now it's perfectly fine out there. So it's kind of weird. You know, I know coming from New England, the mantra or the state motto, if you will, is, you know, if you don't like the weather, stick around, it'll change in 5 minutes. But yeah, that was a little weird today. Kind of came up out of nowhere. My son had just left for work. I was a little concerned because we got the alert that said basically to pull over because the visibility was going to drop to zero pretty quick. But he is safe, and power's back and life is back to normal. So energetic shifts happen, guys, and they can come and pass quickly, or they can come and stay, much like a season. Okay. But anyway, can I get the energetic energy for energetic energy? That's funny. Okay. Yeah. Clearly I'm a little rattled for whatever reason. Maybe it was the energy shifts. Can I get the current energies for today? Thank you so much. I got Two of Pentacles. So right away I noticed she's wearing purple. She's wearing shorts, and you see the sailboat in the background with the water. So that is indicative of me to the season of summer, right? And Two of Pentacles is twos are always about balance for me. And it looks indeed like she's balancing her resources. You know, sometimes some are going to be bigger than others, and sometimes they'll be less than others, but they balance out in the end. And I like the way that they put the infinity symbol on there, right? So, because it's cycles, they never end. They just keep coming back at you from different perspectives. She's very, very heavily focused on that pentacle in her right hand. And I see the yin yang necklace. So we've got a couple different infinity symbolism type things in there. I believe that is Neptune. I could be wrong. You know what? I'm gonna stop trying to figure out what these symbols are until I really know what they are. But if you guys know what they are and they mean something to you, I will go ahead and show you. So when we talk about seasons, if she's in the season of summer, which is what it appears to be here, then what does that mean for you, right? So if you think about the 4 seasons that we go through in our world, you know, winter would be a time of going within, hibernating. You know, it's cold outside, so you kind of stay inside more often than not. Summer is the opposite. So that's when you're outside. That's when you're boating. That's when you're at the river. If you're my family anyway, that's when you're on vacation. A lot of times people take their vacations in summer. But that's the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? Because harvest time would be more like springtime, and planting your seeds would be more like fall. So summer is literally the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, the harvest after it's come in. And that's when you learn to balance those resources, but you also need to plan, right, for the winter. So balancing it. And that's the energy that we're currently in, guys, is just that figuring out how to balance it. And we've gotten to a place of balance, right? We've accepted that there's light and dark. We've accepted that there's good and bad in every situation, and that, you know, in order for our world to continue, in order for our world for time to be infinite for us, then it's continuously balancing the good and the bad, the light and the dark, etc. And from a perspective of resources, you know, there's times when you have, you know, a lot of money in your savings account, and there's times when you don't. I mean, it's very seldom, based on the economy, a time for you to, unless I guess you're a multimillionaire, you know, maybe Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos or whoever, they might have an abundance of resources all the time. But that's rare, you know. For the most part, everyday humans, middle class society, we have ups and downs in our finances. You know, the car breaks down, that might have an impact. You know, the roof is leaking and you need to replace that. That'll have an impact. So our resources go up and down constantly. And the Two of Pentacles is balancing that, right? So this could also be, because resources would be money, although I don't like to read it that way. It could be jobs, right? Balance work and home life. It could be choices. I don't see it that way in this card. One of my cheat sheets over here that I was looking at real quick says it's a choice between 2 jobs. I don't really see it like that for this particular card and these particular images. I do see it more as the balance of resources here, and enjoying the abundance that you have created for yourself, which is beautiful energy. You know, I like that energy for us. We had some not so fun energies yesterday, so I'll take it. I'll take it, the balance. Maybe we're not deceiving ourselves anymore. It's ebbs and flows, guys. Ebbs and flows. Knight of Pentacles. So this is one of the slowest knights in the deck. Knights always are about movement, right? And because there's always somebody on a horse, right? think about what horses mean to you. In the old, not old days, but older times before cars, that was our transportation. So they always represent movement to me. But the Knight of Pentacles is very slow. And the reason I say it's slow is because Pentacles represents earth energy, and earth signs are very slow moving. Their timelines are very slow. They have a tendency, like a fire energy, a fire sign, an Aries, Leo, Sag, or a Wands energy, that would be very fast moving, right? But Pentacles, for some reason, are very slow. Think of slow and steady wins the race. And the Knight of Pentacles, that's having that patience, right? It's hard work pays off. If we look at it from the perspectives of what's on my cheat sheet here, we've got a choice between 2 jobs and then a job offer. So I don't often rely mainly on those cheat sheets. I try to read intuitively based on the pictures, but some of you out there might be asking about a career path, and I will read the cards as 2 job offers and a choice between 2 jobs and a job offer coming in. So there's that. Yeah, that was weird. Sorry guys, that was kind of out of left field. Like I felt like that was for a particular person, but not for the collective in general. Anyway, back to the Knight of Pentacles. So he carries his resources with him. He's slow and steady, and he's walking towards the city, right? And there's a few different decks that show the city behind, the land. He's walking on his own land. So I do think this could be like a land ownership situation. My grandma always used to say, you can never go wrong with real estate. Owning land value doesn't change. It does, I guess, in the way of market value, but the value of having a place to call home that can't be taken away from you, that land ownership is something that is to be valued, right? The value of that doesn't often change over time. And this is, I think, a respect of that. It's just knowing that balance of resources is going to come not just from money or not just from your job, but it's going to come from what you value. What do you value? Like I was saying, my grandma always said, you can't go wrong with real estate, but that doesn't mean that's what everybody values. Some people would rather rent for the rest of their lives because they don't feel like they want to have to pay for the water heater when it breaks, and that's what they value, and that's okay. But to me, that's what this card represents. And it's just understanding your values and understanding your resources and knowing that it takes time to build those resources up, right? It's not like you can just, not everybody in the world can just go out and buy a lottery ticket and win it and have an abundance of resources. Not everybody inherits a lot of money. It takes longer to build that generational wealth, or even just wealth for yourself. And that earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy is, I will work hard to attain that, and I will be patient and wait for it to come back. And I will be patient enough through the other 3 seasons to go ahead and enjoy my summer. Because I know I'm going to enjoy each season for what it is. I'm not going to be in winter wishing for summer. I'm not going to be in summer wishing for fall. I'm not looking ahead and I'm not looking back. I'm just enjoying the season that I happen to be in right now. And so that's our current energy. I would like to know what we don't, or not what we don't see. Well, I guess what we don't see, because if we saw it, we wouldn't be asking. But what can we expect in the coming week? What can we expect in the coming week to go along with these energies of balance and patience? What can we expect? What can we expect in the current week coming up? What can we expect? Ace of Cups, new beginning in love. What I like about this Ace of Cups is the bird, the dove, right? So that's the symbol of peace, but it almost, at a glance, kind of looks like menorah. I don't know enough about the Jewish tradition to give you a lot of background on the menorah, but that might mean something to you. The other thing I noticed that I like is it looks like it's starting, it's like a yin-yang without the outside of it, right? It's that squirrely ebb and flow energy. And then the cup is spilling out into the ocean. Okay. Guys, when I think of how we fit into the universe, they say we're all connected, etc., blah, blah, blah. I picture the universe as if it were an ocean. And I am a water molecule within that ocean. So I am indeed the ocean, but I am also part of the ocean. So I am of it and I embody it. If you want to go from a chemistry perspective, and I'm sure that I will hear about this tomorrow at work from one of our chemistry tutors, but the way that molecules bond together. So if you look at it from a chemical perspective, your vibration will specifically attract other molecules to you. And then you begin to create a pool of this ocean, or you learn to I'm sorry. I went off track for a complete second there. You will attract your tribe to you. I think there was a saying, you are your 5 closest friends, or people that say, oh, well, we think exactly alike. We have the same love language, or we define respect in the same way. These are people that are your tribe. They're on your same level. They are your vibrational match, if you will. The Ace of Cups to me is a new level, right? Some would read this as a new love coming in, a new love of self, filling up their cup and letting it spill over, right? You can't give love until you fill your own cup, and then it spills over, and you then can share it with others, but you've got to start with yourself first. But I see this more as attracting a new tribe because you're on a new level. Understand, if people are ripped from your life, guys, it might be that you've ascended a level and they don't match your energy anymore. And that's okay. And maybe they need to spill over. Maybe they need to spill out. And new energies come in from the divine, from that peace dove up above. And as it spills over, as these people are released back out of your reality and into others' realities, they will attract their tribe, their vibe. Their molecular bonds, if you will change. I know I'm not saying that right. So for all of you chemistry teachers, tutors, and professors out there, bear with me because I'm just working with what I know, and I don't know a lot about chemistry. But anyway, I see these droplets as possible molecules that are attracting each other. So yeah, there's that. Know that when people leave your life, new people will come in. New energies will come in. And it doesn't have to be people. It can be energies, right? It can be jobs. It can be relationships. It can be family relationships. It can be losing a loved one to death, but still feeling them with you in spirit. It transitions. Their frequencies changed. If we think of the body as pure energy, or as the soul, if you will, as pure energy, then when the body dies, energy can neither be created or destroyed. It just changes form, right? So from a water perspective, maybe they've turned to steam. Doesn't mean they're not here. Just means that they've changed. I'm not going to get into the chemistry of all that because I don't know enough about it. But anyway, can you tell me about this Ace of Cups? Please tell me about this Ace of Cups. Tell me about the Ace of Cups coming in this week. Tell me about the Ace of Cups. Tell me about the Ace of Cups. Tell me about the Ace of Cups for this week. We've got the Knight of Wands in reverse. I do like to see the Knight of Wands in reverse. Nines are completions, and Wands is fire and creation energy. So this to me is some idea or new creation that you are working on will come to a close. You will have completed it. Not necessarily the world, like completion of a cycle, but maybe you, finished a semester at school. He looks pretty beat up and been through the ringer a little bit, but and he's in the upright, he's ready for more battle. But in the reverse, those days are done. That chapter is over. It's isolation, defensive. He could be defensive there, and I think the message there is just have faith, right? Go within, have faith. Know that things have to come to an end for new things to begin. When we put the cards together, We've got a new beginning, and then we've got a level of ending, right? But don't get paranoid about it. Don't think that people that are leaving your life are mad at you, if that's what this is, right? Understand it's an energetic shift. Understand it's a frequency change. Don't think you did something wrong. I think we talked yesterday about it's not your fault, right? Sometimes things end, and they're meant to. And sometimes somebody's story in our lives is over, and that's okay. Close the book on that chapter and then start a new one. You can't start a new chapter until you finish the old chapter. And ruminating on it and having that paranoia, if you will, is not going to serve you well, because now you're going to leave yourself stuck in that cycle with the resentments, and you're going to create karma, and you're going to basically drive yourself batshit crazy. So tell me more about this isolation and paranoia with the new beginnings. Tell me more about this paranoia. Yeah, I'll take it. King of Cups in reverse. That looks like Prince to me. Oh, I love it. Look at him. Doesn't that look like Prince? I mean, why not? You know what? I was just saying this morning, because I have, those of you that know me personally know that I legally changed my name recently. So my cousins and close family members who are used to me having one name are having a hard time calling me by the new name. And that's fine. I don't get offended at it, and I went way off on a tangent there for no reason. But the comment I had made to my son was, I'm just going to do what Prince did and make my name a symbol and not a word. And I will be the family member formerly known as Monica. It was kind of funny. Anyway, it's funny that Prince came out. So the King of Cups is obviously... when he's in the upright, he's master of his emotions. If cups is water and water's emotions. And look at the water that we have. We have the water in the pentacles here. We have lack of water here. And then we have water in cups here. Lack of water. So it's like that ebb and flow, right? We've got water, no water, water, no water, water. It's emotions. Your emotions, they go up and down. But the king has mastered his emotions when he's in the upright. When he's in the reverse, it's not a pleasant energy. This is like that emotional manipulation that we talk about, guys. This is when you are going to be generous and subconsciously expect that person to return it at some point. Okay, now this doesn't have to be with money or whatever, but it's with love. It's with emotion. If I give you time and energy and emotion, then I expect you to give it back equally. And if you don't, then I resent you. Well, if that's the case, guys, then you weren't giving unconditional love. Bottom line, because you put a condition on it. And it's that subtle, it's that little, if you will, where you're not even consciously intending for that, but you do feel left out or wronged in some way when people don't have your same heart. And so this doesn't have to be a bad energy. It's just making you aware that not everyone has your heart. And if you're going to give your love, give it unconditionally. Okay? This fish that jumped out of the water down here, and there's several fish that jumped out of the water. In the reverse, it's a fish out of water. It's not understanding maybe love languages, not understanding that energies can be reciprocated in different ways. If you only define love by your standards, then that's a condition of love. You expect it to be returned that way. We talk about the 5 love languages. If somebody's love language is acts of service and somebody's love language is gift giving, then bringing home flowers at the end of your day to give to the person whose love language is acts of service is not going to convey the love that you're trying to give with the flowers, right? Because you're speaking, it's Spanish and English or Italian or whatever. You're still saying the words, but they're not understanding it. And I think that's what this card is saying, is just be aware that words like love and peace and happiness and respect even are a very subjective definition. There's no one Webster's dictionary answer to those words. And if you can hear an I love you from someone, and understand the language in which it's being spoken, then there's a lot less room for miscommunications and things like that. So I think that's what this is saying about these new levels, right? And this paranoia. It doesn't, if you're left out of something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you were consciously left out of the thing. Maybe you were in the shower when everybody left. What were they supposed to do? If it was like I don't know, there's 4 or 5 people in the house. You decide to jump in the shower. They decide out of the blue that they want to go get coffee. And so you come out of the shower and everybody's gone. Your paranoia kicks in and you're like, what did I do? Why did they leave? Well, it had nothing to do with you. They went to get coffee. And then they come back and maybe they brought you a coffee. Who knows? Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't think about it. Either way, it's not about you. It's not about your language. People don't speak your language unless they're awake, unless they're aware, unless they're present and fully conscious of trying to communicate with you in your language. Not very many people, guys, are that aware. Not very many people are that awake. There's more and more coming in recent times, but for the most part, most people don't think that deeply about this stuff, right? They say, I love you, and they just kind of assume everybody defines it the same way, and they don't. And that's what this card is saying, is just understand that you probably don't define those things the same way other people do. And that's okay, because now we know. So now we can, now we have the code key, right? What is that called? Like yeah, I guess a code key. I can't think of a better word for it right now. Can I get a final card for the week's message, please? Can I get a final card for these week's messages? Can I get a final card for these week's messages? Can I get a final card for the messages for the week? Can I get a final card? Thank you. 10 of Pentacles. Hell yeah, guys. I was about to say the F word. Sorry. But yeah. Hell yeah. Here's the thing. Our 10 of Pentacles has landed. Sorry, I'm trying to put the cards aside. Our 10 of Pentacles landed sideways. When a card falls sideways for me, that means it's your choice if you want it to be upright or if you want it to be in the reverse. I will read both for you. So 10 of Pentacles in the upright is abundance. It is absolute abundance in all of your resources. This is generational wealth. It might be an inheritance or something to that effect. It's legacy, right? Assets, retirements. It's having the things that you need to rest. We spend that first part of our lives, guys, building up our retirement accounts so that we can enjoy them later in life. This is that time that it's later in life. It's time to enjoy the fruits of that labor again. We've got nothing but cups and pentacles here. There's wands. But the wands is the reverse card, right? And it's the 9, it's the completion. But anyway, so you can choose to see your final message for this week as that generational wealth, inheritance, abundance, legacies, or you can choose to see it as foreclosures, family conflicts, loneliness, financial failure. When I tell you guys that being rich is in the eye of the beholder, I am so not kidding. You can see having $20 in the bank in your savings account the same as having $20,000 in your savings account. It's all in your perception. It's all in your energy. It's all in the vibration that you put out there. You can see the $20 as, damn, I only have $20 in savings. Or you can say, you know what? I've never had a savings account and I actually have $20 in savings. It's a perspective shift. It's all in how you want to look at it. At the end of the day, whether you have $20 or $20,000 in savings, you paid your bills and you had something left over. Can you not just be grateful for that? Or are you going to live so far into the future, into that retirement age, that you don't even enjoy the now? I'm not saying don't plan for the future, but I'm also saying don't plan for a future into your future, right? Like, when does that end? In our country, it's the age of 65 is retirement age. So you have a cutoff point when you stop planning for retirement and you start enjoying the retirement. there's a balance there. I personally think that the retirement age should be 55, because that's, why are we working more than half of our lives? It should be a balance. There should be a half and half, right? And if the expected age is 80 or 85 or even 90, let's cut that in half. But then I guess maybe, I don't know, we account for childhood, blah, blah, blah. There could be a whole mathematical equation about it. Doesn't matter. The point being, it's in the perspective of your abundance, which is where the abundance or lack thereof will be defined, much like a love language. It is love, it's peace, it's happiness, it's wealth, are all very personal definitions. And I think this Ace of Cups is understanding that. It's understanding things in a new way, putting down the old ways of thinking about how we used to define those things, and understanding that not everybody defines them the same way we do, and being patient enough for our tribe to come in, for the people that think like we do, that consider, similar definitions to these subjective words. They come in, they're coming to you, but it's not going to be a quick process, and the energies will balance out, right? Because we're starting to balance that now. So I do think it's going to be an awesome week for you guys, but make sure that you are paying attention to your perception. You are paying attention to how you are looking at things. How you look at things will define your reality. What is that saying? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So keep that in mind this week, guys, because there might be some challenges coming up. Or perceived challenges, I should say, right? New energies, new levels, new frequencies. And when that happens, old has to fall away for new to come in. So keep that in mind this week. I am going to get an oracle card for us, and I'm going to use Alice in Wonderland, because I almost wanted to use the Alice in Wonderland Tarot today, but for some reason I chose not to. I really, what it is, these cards, the Majik Tarot, they're just so vibrant and beautiful to me, and I feel like I just don't use that deck enough. But anyway, I digress. We're going to get an oracle card to give us some final messages for the week. Advice for the week. Advice from Miss Alice. Alice, who is through the looking glass and now looking at herself as an observer. That's how I see it anyway. She gets big, she gets small. Time stands still, it goes backwards sometimes. Like, everything is just topsy-turvy. And anyway, yeah, Alice has been a theme if you've been on my channel for a little bit now. And we're going to get some advice from Miss Alice. If, you know what, guys, maybe it's my hands. I don't know. These cards, either they're tight-lipped or I'm just shuffling different than I normally do. But I am having a hard time getting my cards to come out. And as I say that, maybe it's not me. That is a lot of advice, but you know what? Why not? It's Sunday. Who cares? You can't go back to yesterday. Card number 44. I do believe we had 2 4s in a reading earlier this week. So 44 is going to be significant, guys, to you in some respect. Again, I think it's stability. That's what 44 means to me. But, you guys figure out what 44 means for you, because it might mean something different, and that's okay. So the card is you can't go back to yesterday. Be in the present. With this new beginning, new energetic shifts, new frequencies, you're going to try to hang on to what's comfortable. Don't do that. Like, look, she's grasping at this eagle, right? But the eagle isn't even an eagle. It gives me those phoenix rising from the ashes vibes. And she's sad, right? She looks like she's sad. She looks like she's about to cry, because she's got to let go of that, what took her a lifetime to build up to yesterday needs to be let go of. And allow yourself time to grieve that, guys. Allow those negative feelings to happen. Don't distract yourself from them, but do bring yourself back to present. Understand you're in the now. You're not in yesterday. New frequency shifts, new energy shifts. Roll with it, okay? And then no need to fear. No need to fear. Remember how powerful you are. So look at she's kind of like staring off into the distance, and there's some sort of flying fish and a mermaid, and it looks like a fishing pole. Not even gonna lie. Like they're trying to bait her to remember, right? Because she looks like she's, when you're staring off into into the distance like that, you are actually either in the past or in the future. You're definitely not present, and you are potentially fearing something that hasn't even happened yet, and you're basically torturing yourself twice with that thing that may or may not happen. And now if it doesn't happen, now you've put all this fear and energy into something that never came to fruition. Or you'll manifest it, either way. I don't know what this creature, I guess it's a fish, but it's a little creepy because it looks like he's eating his own tail. Maybe that's what that is, but I don't have a lot of insight on that character there. Yeah, creepy. And then a couple birds down here, and I do see birds as messengers, so the message is no need to fear. And then find the lesson. I love this card. This is my favorite card. Look at that cat. He just looks crazy, right? Cheshire cat, I guess, in this deck. But find the lesson, discover the purpose in a situation, and trust that you're learning. So when things are... I am just sorry, guys. I just noticed that mushroom there. Like, mushrooms have been a thing lately. It's just been a theme for me lately. I don't know. Maybe I need to go take some magic mushrooms and chill the hell out. But, you know, she looks like she's trying to gossip, and she looks like she's trying to let that go, right? What is the lesson here? What is the lesson? Don't gossip. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. I mean, these are the 4 agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz. How can you apply those lessons? You know, this is a little girl that she's gossiping with, and it looks like this mother is almost scolding her. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And then you've got people outside, and there's people just talking everywhere. And then you got Cheshire Cat. He's just enjoying the chaos, isn't he? Literally, like, we're all mad here. Yeah, we're all mad. Everybody's doing something different. And that's okay, because their lessons are not your lessons. You might be delivering them their lessons, and they might be delivering you your lessons. And once those lessons have been learned, or the message has been received or heard or whatever, they're probably going to fade out of your life. Let them go. You can't go back to yesterday. Don't fear being alone, because new energies will come in. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I know it was a little bit long of a reading. I'm so sorry. But, you know, it's Sunday, so why not? Anyway, we will talk soon. Much love and light. Hey, guys. So, little insight into that reading we just heard. A couple things jumped out at me when I was watching it a second time. The number 44. So we had 44 in the reading yesterday. And if you notice, I had kind of a theme going with the 4 seasons, right? And then at the end, I was talking about the 4 agreements. So the number 4 seemed to ring throughout the reading, whether I was aware of it or not. So some significance there. A lot of times when I choose the stories that I'm going to tell, I don't often know why. And in this reading, there wasn't a lot of like outside distractions and stuff to play into the reading, but there was, I think, significance to the stories I was telling. Hence the 4 seasons, the 4 agreements. The other thing that jumped out at me watching it again was the jobs references, right? So in the beginning, I talked about how I don't often read the cheat sheet, but felt the need to, and there was a side message for someone about job opportunities and job offers. And then later in the reading, I was talking about wealth, and I mentioned the name Steve Jobs. So there again, you know, there's some synchronicities there with the word jobs. I talked a lot about the earth energies, and then I mentioned the world that we live in and the seasons and whatnot. So there was a lot of references to the 3D world, you know, not too much spirituality necessarily in the reading today. There was a lot of real world energies and examples. The other thing that I noticed as I was watching it again was the water theme that kind of ran throughout it. And I had mentioned at one point a water heater, and I mentioned steam, and just the different changing elements, if you will, to water, and how water is unique in that it's one of the few elements that is a solid, and it's a liquid, and it's a gas. And it's funny, even now that as I say that, because in the beginning I was talking about chemistry. So there might be some sort of chemistry theme running throughout that as well. So, I mean, it's something to think about, right? The other thing that I noticed, and it bothers me when I do this, but I always know that there's a reason why things happen the way they do, is I had mentioned the seasons, right? And I mentioned that spring was a time to harvest and that fall was a time to plant. Well, in traditionally, those are backwards. But, you know, as a friend pointed out to me, maybe you did plant in the fall and maybe you did harvest in the spring, because whatever crop you're growing or flowers you're growing, those are the seasons or the times to do so. So it doesn't have to always be what normal society defines it as, right? And there again, I mean, there's another synchronicity right there, because at the end of the reading we were talking about how people define words differently. Well, even the seasons can be defined differently, and it's all about the perspective and enjoying where you're at. You know, I talked about retirement, enjoying the retirement. Talked about summer, enjoying the summer. There was a lot of enjoyment being thrown around, right? Enjoying, and as I'm saying it now, I'm hearing, you know, enjoy the journey. So yeah, there's and the symbolism, right? There was a lot of symbols. I said the word symbol a lot, and the word peace. Those are two words I don't often use. And when I use words that I don't often use, I find them to be, you know, obviously they jump out at me. And so for me personally, watching the reading, those are things I pay attention to. So go back, listen to the words, pay attention to the stories, see what connections you can make on your own, what intuitive hits you can get. If you noticed, I did talk a lot about different words that people used. I kept saying, you know, whatever words you want to use, whether it was download or intuitive hit or intuition or whatever. And then, you know, later I talked about the definitions being different. So the point being, you know, try to convey your energies with more than just your words. You know, try to use different words to narrow down what it is you're trying to convey to other people sometimes, or even to yourself. So that's my little spiel, my reading of the reading for today. So you guys have a great week, and or well, day, I guess. We'll talk tomorrow. So, but have a great week and a great day. Love and light.